Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like the Cardinals, should have stayed in Jupiter. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined by my co-host, Ben Zamorka.
What is up, Nate?
If you have an idea for the opening bit, text or leave us a voicemail at 848-48-BIRDS, or you could consider joining the Patreon and getting access to the Discord where this roast was submitted by friend of the show, C70. Thank you, C70. Hambone, would you stay in Jupiter?
No, Florida sucks.
So we just
enjoyed myself down there. Had a great time. Can't wait to do it again. But Florida's bad.
Asked and answered.
How many times per day did I complain about the weather?
Man, unfathomable.
Yeah. So I couldn't do it down there. I mean, I was averaging 2 showers a day. It's disgusting down there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of I kind of see it as the same politics and weather as Missouri, but they have a beach. So
if I had to choose in between Florida and Missouri, I would move to Florida.
I do think a big topic of discussion the whole time was that, like, boy, would I not want to spend all my time down here in Florida. But we had a great time. If somehow this is your first episode, every episode could be someone's first episode. Me, Hambone here. Yeah. Every time it's not someone's last episode, it's a surprise, and we call it a win. So me, Hambone here, friend of the show, Brandon, and our good buddy Dustin, just spent from Wednesday night until late Sunday night, driving all around Florida, really getting an eyeful of Central Florida, going to 4 games in 3 days, and also spending sort of a lazy Sunday afternoon just trying to get into the Phillies stadium. That's a thing we'll talk about here in a little bit. And just having a lazy day in hot Florida. It was both of our first times going down to spring training at all. I've done some family vacations in Florida over the years, but Hambone here has spent almost no time in Florida, and I think may never go back. He was lobbying that we do our spring training trip in Arizona going forward, even though there are no Cardinal games there.
It's pretty good to me.
So I think we were talking about how to cover this, because I think a lot of the listeners of the show are going to already know what some of the results of the games were and things like that. So I thought it would just make sense to kind of go day by day through the stadiums we went to and our takeaways from the spring training experience. So we flew into Tampa Bay and stayed in Bradenton, and in Bradenton,
Palmetto.
Okay, right near Bradenton, which is where the Pirates stadium is. So our first game of spring training, first time any of us had been to spring training, we saw the Cardinals at the Pirates spring training facility. Hambone, what was your, this was our first time getting into this sort of scenario. What were your initial thoughts and sort of takeaways from this?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, the Pirates stadium and spring training facility, and not to denigrate the neighborhood that it's within, but they were all very reminiscent of the Tigers as an organization and Bob Nutting's kind of life.
The Pirates.
Motto.
You said Tigers.
I'm sorry, the Pirates.
Yeah.
Bob Nutting's kind of the way that he goes about running a baseball team. And by that I mean there's no fanfare. Barely could even really tell you were walking up on a minor league or a spring training facility when you're walking up. The neighborhood was, there's just like an empty field right next to it. There's not much going on. And then walking into the stadium, it felt, I have been to low college stadiums that are nicer. I would say it rivaled it was like a step above a high school stadium. But the facilities were wanting. We did get a really good cheeseburger.
That's true.
We sat
One of the better bites of the trip, I would say, at least in the ballpark.
Wouldn't agree with you more, but what we did notice is that they had the fewest options and the most expensive food, which I thought it's just very Bob Nutting Pirates.
Yeah. We went to much better facilities later and paid less, for sure.
What was cool is, we're sitting out in the bleachers. We get to the game early. We're walking around. We see Connor Griffin taking clearly like some promotional photos or videos on a backfield, which is, something obviously you don't get to see from home.
There is a minor but non-0% chance that I am going to be in the background of one of Connor Griffin's future baseball cards.
Yeah, I think the editor is going to get in there and clean that up. That's
one out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But the good thing about a small, crappy stadium is the level of access is insane. We are 20 feet from the guys. We were 5 feet from Tink Hintz at one point, and some other bullpen arms warming up. I had one too many beers, and as I was walking out, shouted something at Derek Gould, and he looked at me, and we chatted for a moment. Like the level of access was intimate.
You know that look when someone you see someone whose name has just been yelled, they look over, recognize who called their name, but have no idea who it was that called their name? That was Derek Gould. He was polite and engaged with Ben, but he clearly was like, who the hell is yelling at me from across this basically above him down into the parking lot? Ben was yelling at this guy. So
yeah, I thought I probably made him feel like a celeb for a second. I'm sure he enjoyed it.
Sure. One of my, maybe it's just because it was our first day, we did this at almost every ballpark, but one of my key memories from this trip already was watching them warming up right there. It was definitely the closest we could get to the bullpen was at the Pirates Stadium. I mean, all of these are pretty small, so if you had access to the bullpen, which you didn't at all of them, you could get pretty close regardless. But this one, we were just right there watching Ryan Fernandez pitch. Who else did we see pitch in there? We saw Quinn Matthews warming up.
Swanson.
Yeah.
Swanson.
And so that is one of those things where lack of size and lack of facilities did just make you feel pretty close to the players.
Yeah, and I'm not really complaining. It's just comparing it to the other places. It was stark. It was noticeably falling apart's not the right word. Just not as nice as the rest of them. But it was. I had a great time. I thought it was a great way to kick it off. The Cardinals played well. We did a couple of laps around the ballpark. Like I said, got a burger, maybe one too many beers, and had a lovely time kind of roasting in the sun.
It was quite hot. If you haven't heard it yet, Ben did not like the 80-degree temperatures of Florida.
No. I'm fine with the 80-degree temperatures. It's the sitting 85% humidity, which I've become weak to. My bones are soft nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we the next day we went over to Sarasota, where the Cardinals were playing at the Orioles Stadium, and I had that observation about the Pirates Stadium while we were there, but it didn't really settle in, or I didn't really get it until we went to the Orioles Stadium, which wasn't even the nicest one we went to. We'll get to that.
No,
but it was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, this is a much bigger facility, much nicer, just cleaner, brighter, just everything wider, more room, more people.
Palm trees in the background. The facilities are upgraded. Even the bathrooms. Everything was nicer.
Yeah,
the food was less expensive.
It was cheaper too. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, the Orioles were a better team too. So, and our seats were over. We were pretty close on the first base line, so we were right down there where Jackson Holliday was hanging out. The cursed doll himself, Jackson Holliday, was there signing autographs. We were pretty close to Pete Alonso, the big tough guy, big strong guy. Saw a lot of the Orioles kind of just meandering right around us. One thing that stood out to me from this game that I kind of enjoyed throughout the whole weekend. What I don't go to a lot of away games. I've certainly been to some, but I don't go to a lot of games in other people's stadiums. And every little stadium, they all have their own little quirks and their own little traditions that they do. Like in St. Louis, if you go to basically any game during the national anthem, at the end they say the home of the Blues, and everyone yells Blues. With this one at the Orioles Stadium during the national anthem, during the second time where they say "oh," everybody screams "O's," and it made me jump, and it was funny.
It was
So,
startling.
yeah, I like to see all the little traditions and things like that.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't know. We got some
yeah.
dogs.
Got
We
some
had a
dogs.
good
We
time.
watched some good. We were sitting right next to Big Christmas, Joneski Noel, which was
Yeah.
fun to realize how small we are and how large and powerful he is.
Yeah.
And again, good Florida weather. It was lovely.
That is one of the biggest people I've ever been even remotely near. It was
So big.
you really, we obviously we all know these guys are all monster humans, but like these stadiums and being down kind of close, it really does start to settle in just how monster sized like even the smallest guys on these teams are.
Yeah. And just to kind of reflect on the overall vibes, like it is the ballpark is quiet for how many people are there. But these games have no stakes, so there's nothing really to get too animated about. But I remember while we were at the Orioles game, we all went and got some Founders All Day IPAs and turned around and did a cheers. And the guy next to us was like, "Hell yeah, beers for the boys," or something to that effect. And it's like, yeah, everyone's just here to have a good time. There's the competitive atmosphere is very low. The vibes are very high. We're having fun. It was lovely.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of cheersing, and you do realize like, okay, who's actually going to a spring training baseball game? And it seemed to be either people who have been retired for 20 plus years or people like me and Ben. It was like
there was a stark line.
Yeah, it's like super fans who are there or the retirement home has a field trip.
Yes. Yeah, I sent a photo to my wife of us in the bleachers or somewhere, and she goes, "Wow, you guys are really lowering the average age of the attendees there." And yeah, we are.
It was quite remarkable. Now, to be fair, the first two games, there's a Thursday and a Friday, a day game.
I think they're fine, Nate. They'll be okay. They're living a fine life.
Well, the Friday night game and the Saturday game, there were a lot more kids,
Sure.
there were just more people in general, but it was like immediately noticeable that we were like the youngest, and we're not even that young.
Right.
So
right.
I think that also plays into the overall energy level of the crowd.
100%.
Although there was a guy at the Orioles Stadium who wanted to be heard and was absolutely heard throughout the stadium. He was a heckler,
Yeah.
and you love a heckler at an MLB game. Their voice doesn't really stretch past the section they're in. Maybe you hear a little bit of it in the distance. I bet this guy was heard across the entire stadium, and he was funny. We were laughing.
Sure. He had a couple of good ones.
He had some zingers.
As me being the way that I am, there's a limit to it, right? We get it.
Yeah.
But he had a couple of good ones.
He had a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
Well, our favorite was when he yelled, and many people have maybe heard this, but I felt like it was the first time I heard it. He yelled, "Hey, you're missing a good game," when there was a bad call. So
that was good. I'll take that. Yeah,
that's kind of funny. Speaking of, this was obviously like our first time seeing the new ABS in person.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it was kind of fun when you have a whole
Good.
crowd around with you. They challenge it. It's up on the big board. Everyone reacts, wow, or like boo, or whatever the reaction was. And it added another layer of like suspense and then some reaction whenever the ball comes in and shows on the screen. So that was kind of fun. And I can imagine at a full MLB game, 47,000 people all screaming at a little interface showing a ball clip a strike zone by a 1/10 of an inch or whatever will be loud and hopefully kind of fun.
I'm sure we will witness many game-ending ABS calls this season, and we'll see how that goes. That could be fun. It could be anticlimactic, but I thought the system worked great. It was super quick. The visual was super easy. It was all very easy and seamless.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. There were several people talking about it in the stands. It's definitely like a hot topic right now. I think for a lot of people having this being their first time interacting with it, I think it'll be like the pitch clock too, where that was like all anyone was kind of talking about as the season started, as people start to, the normies out there start to watch baseball and see all the new rules.
Yeah, I think so far so good. Good job, Rob.
Sure. After that, we got in our little car and we drove.
It's like a normal size car.
It was a nice car.
Okay.
Our buddy Dustin drove a ton.
Shout out Dusty.
Shout out to D-Rock. We drove to downtown Tampa, where we saw the Rays play the Yankees. And I mean, this was by far, we went from feeling like little tiny rinky-dink stadiums to just a miniaturized MLB stadium. I mean, it was already huge. The production quality was significantly better. It was a night game, which I don't think the Pirates Stadium could do a night game. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there.
There's no way. They just did not have. Yeah. You couldn't see the ball.
They don't want to pay for the electricity, I assume.
Right.
But for all intents and purposes, this felt like a MLB game. They had all the little in between inning interactions. It was well produced. It was fun. Now, part of that reason is because the Tampa Bay Rays played at that stadium all last year, so it was acting as an MLB stadium and had been reinforced through that way. But it was just kind of funny to be like, yesterday we were at the Pirate Stadium and today we're at the Yankees. And it really felt like it really highlighted the class system that exists within baseball right now.
They have a full bowl, they have full lights. They have a video board, like you said, with the presentation and everything like that. They had a 2-story tall team store. There are fields upon fields, around everywhere, and there was a legitimate crowd there. I think that place holds like 15,000 people.
I would bet it was the biggest game of this. It was the biggest game of spring training, and it was 14,000 something.
Yeah. Seats were packed. We got rained on a little bit. I had this really grouchy older woman from New York sitting next to me that was cracking me up. And she was kind of giving us shit for all wearing Cardinals gear to a game in which the Cardinals were not participating in. She was a blast.
Yeah.
We had nice seats. We were basically right behind home plate, which was great. We saw Giancarlo, his first at-bats of the season. And I think the highlight for me was, I think it was during one of the breaks in between innings where the grounds crew ran out to rake the dirt. They were playing the YMCA overhead. And during one of the YMCA, that chorus of the song, they all dropped to the floor, bounced up, and did the YMCA, and then kept doing their raking, which was good.
Which is apparently because when we were at the Cardinals Stadium, which we'll get to next, we talked to some Phillies fans who were also kind of doing what we were doing, and they were like, "Oh, did you see him at the Yankees game? Did they do the YMCA? We love that." So it's like just another little weirdo thing that stadium does, and people know. The rain was funny to me because we're all out. Basically, we pot committed to just being kind of miserable for like 25 minutes. It was definitely one of those things where it's like, it's raining. We're just sitting there in shorts and t-shirts like, this'll be fine. Whatever, the stands are completely clearing around us. We're just sitting there. The rain's getting worse. There's lightning in the distance. And I think that they were still playing, so it couldn't have been that bad.
There's lightning flashes, and we're legitimately sitting there counting till you hear the thunder. Like, it's far. We're fine. We can sit in these seats.
But it was definitely like the rain's getting colder and bigger. Yeah. And we definitely were just like, well, I guess we're just gonna sit through this.
Oh, what do you go stand on the concourse with all the other weirdos? Like,
no.
I'd rather just get
soak
wet.
me, baby.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
So I had never done 2 games in one day at 2 different stadiums. Definitely a highlight of the trip. I think, the day of the
Pretty
Cardinals
hard to do that
Stadium.
in most situations. I guess you can do
Right.
that in New York and I guess California and Chicago.
Yeah. Or no, I don't think if there was a noon game in St. Louis and an evening game in KC, you could conceivably catch part of the KC game,
Yeah.
but it would be you certainly wouldn't get the whole thing.
No.
Mm.
Wow.
Well, anyway, I think that day was probably the highlight of the trip, spending almost all day in 2 different stadiums. Ben got a cool hat. We're all pretty jealous of it. If you're watching the video feed, he's wearing it right now. Ben, will you describe the hat for us?
The only way to describe it, Nate, is that it has it's a white hat, first off.
It's a white hat.
And it has the Orioles logo, the bird with the hat on it. And behind the Oriole is a T-Rex.
It's as simple as that, folks. It's like
not
a
sure
copy.
why.
It's like they copy pasted. They copy pasted a little T-Rex, and then copy pasted the Orioles logo over top of it. We have no idea why. We tried to find other versions of it at other stadiums. No one else had one.
Yeah.
I assumed it was from the kids section, but Ben, his head is roughly 2 to 3 basketball sizes wide, so that wouldn't fit most kids'
The
heads.
fact that you're throwing around head jokes is laughable. You have the most ridiculous noggin. Okay.
It's a good head. I have a totally normal. It's fine.
Definitely not an abnormality, and it's definitely not something we need to keep track of.
Ben's like 2 feet taller than me, and we both have the same size head. It's fine. It's good.
It's good.
And then finally, on Saturday, we got in our little car and we drove 3.5 hours straight across your beautiful Florida. And we saw all the different parts of Florida to get to Jupiter, where we did proceed to get more stupider. So mission accomplished. And we saw the Cardinals at Roger Dean at the new and improved, apparently, Roger Dean Stadium. What's your take on old RDS, Roger Dean Stadium?
Yeah, kind of dumpy. It was my initial thought. Like, I know that they just put a bunch of money into it. We were not sitting in the new fancy Champions Club or whatever it's called. So we were just kind of out there with the rank and file on the first base line. And it was fine. Like, I would have to put it in between. Yankee Stadium is far above it, in between the Orioles and Pirates Stadium. Like, noticeably nicer than the Pirates Stadium, because I cannot say this enough. It was one of the least impressive ballparks I've ever been to in my entire life. The field, the field and everything looked nice. It was fine. But
sure.
Just the surrounding was less so. But yeah, it was kind of rinky-dink, but again, intimate and nice. The only really actual complaint I have about it is that the bullpens are out in the outfield and there's no way for the fans to access it. So we can't really walk around and poke and, spit at players or whatever it is that you'd like to do. But outside of that, it was fine. Nothing to write home about. Nothing very impressive.
Yeah.
Like, there was no foodstuffs that really got me excited. I was trying to find an ice cream cone inside of a baseball helmet, and they could not produce that. So, and also, while I'm on that note, I think Dippin' Dots are bad. And Dippin' Dots should not be the only ice cream that you're offering in stadium. I don't really consider it ice cream, and I think it tastes like nothing. So, I was pretty disappointed about that. Outside of that, I thought our experience was pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Can you call yourself something of the future for like 30 years straight? I feel like this is bad stand-up from the 90s, but I'm also not a big Dippin' Dots fan.
It is undoubtedly a hacky, terrible bit, but also remains true, Nate. It's shitty.
Sure. Aren't those the best kind of bits?
Wow.
Hacky, but true.
Wow.
So maybe that's our entire podcast.
Fair enough.
I think I agree. I don't think it'd be unfair to compare anything to the Yankee Stadium, which again was also an MLB stadium for a while. I thought it was right around the same as the Orioles. And I think it's fair. Like all the money that we understand that went into the stadium, I believe was primarily more about the like pitching lab and the backfield and all things like that. I think the upgrades
Well,
to the
locker
stadium,
rooms, I know, huge redo on the lockers.
yeah, that Champions Club that they built, from a distance it looked nice, but we weren't.
Restricted.
Yeah, it was. There was some sort of private event going on that we couldn't go into. The first of two times we got blocked by a private event.
Yeah.
But it was nice, and it's fun to see the Cardinals on home field, and really like the whole trip had been based around going to Jupiter and seeing the Cardinals at home, and it was a lot of fun. We saw two Josh Baez home runs, one at the Oriole Stadium and then one there at Roger Dean, which I think was like from a performance standpoint the highlight of the trip, as well as a bunch of good pitching performances as well. The Cardinals won 2 of 3 games that we saw them, so that was fun. I think the only other notable thing from our trip was that on Sunday we decided kind of last minute to go and try to see the Phillies. Ben was certain that they were at home, so we drove over to see the Phillies. We got there, we're like, the parking lot's kind of empty. Well, that's weird. But we park, and we're like, well, let's just go up and see what's up. And because there were people around. It wasn't like it was completely empty. There were people around. There were like some of the security people around, etc. We got all the way up to where we go through the gift shop. There's people everywhere. There's like people in Phillies gear. We finally get up and we find out that they're hosting some sort of private charity event that we could go in for $100. Which
we ain't giving no money to charity.
Never. That's for me. So that was fine. Yeah, it was funny that we thought there was a game. That one's on Ben. And there wasn't a game. So then we went and played putt-putt golf. And it's important to me that everyone here knows Ben is a golfer, right? He looks like a golfer right now. He's wearing his white hat. He golfs. How often do you golf, Ben?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Every 3 days,
half a dozen times a year, a dozen times a year, something like that.
Okay, he's a golfer. Who won by 1 stroke between me and you? Your boy. Put it on the board.
I think it's worth noting, Nate, that you tied with Brandon, who is also
did tie with Brandon,
not a golfer.
So Brandon also. We both beat Ben by 1 stroke, which is also hilarious.
We played 18 holes of mini golf, and there was 1 stroke in between us all. It was oddly competitive for the event that it was.
I was an 82 putts for a while, but I lost it in the back 9.
Completely fell apart.
I thought I was running away with it, but then we started rushing because we didn't want to miss the airplane and that whole thing. And then, I'm not making an excuse. I collapsed. It
was pathetic.
No, I still beat you.
The anger that you displayed in the last 3 or 4 holes was really brought me.
I'm a nice guy. Okay. We was ranked. I'm the nicest guy. We spend a lot of time ranking things.
No one buys that.
I'm the nicest and Ben is the meanest.
I'm fine with that. You so needing to be the nicest is really off.
I feel like I have to say it all the time. I'm a nice guy.
It makes me sad for you, and I guess by proxy your family. But that's not really my business.
No, remember, I'm the nicest guy and I'm the baddest bitch in the club. And those 2 things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever you say. And the world's dumbest bitch. We should also note that.
Yeah, I was thinking. So was that our first fan art, Ben?
Yeah, I think it was.
Scored right now.
Yeah, the bird scored's weird right now. But if you would like to produce any fan art of stupid things that we've said, hit us up at talkingaboutbirds@gmail.com.
There's a world's dumbest bitch image that was made, and I showed it to Molly, and she just goes, "Oh,"
because she knows, Nathan. She knows.
It's funny. We're laughing.
I love to laugh.
Wow, we like to laugh, don't we? And that concluded the Get More Stupider tour altogether.
Yeah.
I think a huge success. And we're already talking about what we're gonna do next time. We didn't really like none of us are big like autograph guys or anything like that. I didn't really care about getting down and close to the players when they were on the field. But we really didn't do any of the other spring training things where you try to get there like super early and like catch them on backfields or get there for batting practice and things like that. So
we were a little preoccupied with also getting some hardcore hangs in, which
yeah,
which maybe interfered with some of the earlier morning activities that we could have done.
yeah, I agree. So we're talking about next time we do it. Do we prioritize getting there even earlier, or you know, are the vibes what's more important? And maybe we'll meet somewhere in the middle. But either way, really, really, really good trip. And if anyone out there is thinking about doing it, it is legitimately fun to see these guys at these small stadiums. And we caught a Danielle Ortiz at bat. You'll see some of these players that
Gyro Padilla, we saw a
yeah.
bunch of really, really young guys play. We saw a good play from Chase Davis, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we saw a lot of cool stuff.
a lot of fun seeing the entirety of the team. Some guys we may never see again or won't see for a couple years as they make their way through
Even just seeing like,
system.
we roll up before the Pirates game starts and we see Ty Pete out taking shag and fly balls in center. Just little things like that. Like, oh, I got to see, I probably won't see this player in the major leagues for a couple of years at least, but we, being able to see them and just kind of fun. Yeah. The access is cool.
Yeah. It's certainly like we said, it's either like old people or super fans. And as super fans, it was really fun to see all these guys. And like Tink Hence was in the bullpen just hanging out like at all 3 games that we could get to the bullpen. He was just hanging out. So we were like, screaming things at him, interrupting their flow, normal stuff.
Yeah. I asked him to feel my bicep.
And then he pinched through it like it was a sponge and Ben had to go to the hospital.
Fully deflated it. Came out.
Yep. Bloop. Should we talk
Nate,
about what else is going on in
let's do it. We got a packed show, baby.
We do have a packed show. So we still want to get into all the news and notes from the last week. So Hambone, actually I do need to address one thing. We did not go and see the radioactive manatees. And it is a bitter disappointment.
I really don't have anything nice to say about this. I feel like I was lobbying pretty hard, and there were other people in the group that seemed fully uninterested, which I took offense to.
Yeah. So it is a failure, and I want to just get ahead of it, and I want to apologize.
You're an idiot. Okay.
I've written a full statement in my notes app that I'll be posting on the Everything website later today.
I'm going to just trample this. All right, let's talk about some Cardinals news, Nate.
We've learned. Okay, yeah.
Let's talk about the outfield. Nootbaar still has not played in spring training, which means he's probably unlikely to start on opening day. The outfield is a mess. Scott and Walker have both looked terrible after making some swing changes at driveline over the winter. Obviously, Nootbaar is still rehabbing his heels with no return date in sight. Josh Baez hit a 416-foot blast off Nestor Herman with a 109 exit velo, then quickly packed his bags and was sent down to AAA. Nelson Velasquez is having quite the spring training with a 190 WRC plus. But all that to be said, spring training numbers, we're talking like 25. I don't even think anybody's hit 30 ABs yet. This is really, really small sample size. But I guess it goes back to like the thing I want to talk about is like, how are we rolling out the outfield right now? Are you just kind of staying course and letting it happen? It's a developmental year. Or are you worrying about what this outfield might look like on opening day?
I don't feel like it is what it is at this point. I do think Velasquez is a interesting discussion to get to. But is 3 weeks of March play, 4 weeks of March play really going to change the decision making around Victor Scott and Jordan Walker? I don't think so. I think that even if they hit 100, which is maybe what they're going to end up doing, I suspect they're penciled in as day one. Frankly, because there just isn't another option that is beating down the door that feels like the right time. We're all big hype on Josh Baez. He's looking great this spring, but I am in full support of starting him at AAA and letting it cook there for a while. There really is no reason to rush him, and we've seen how that can fall apart. It's let him cook.
Yeah.
So what else do you do? I mean, Nathan Church, we've talked about him, and then Velasquez, right? Like that's the story. Is he hitting his way in to a wide open outfield right now? And are the Cardinals going to say, all right, dog, good spring.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can convert it.
There's 2 weeks of spring left, assuming that he doesn't totally fall off a cliff or get injured or something like that. You'd have to assume the direction he's trending is to make this team. He's walking more than twice as much as he's striking out in these first handful of games. He's hitting for power a little bit. Everything kind of, he's doing all the right things. He's also that right-handed bat that the Cardinals claim to maybe still sort of be looking for right now, which maybe they're not because he is the answer. I agree. Church has had a nice start as well. And I wonder how, like, what do the Cardinals internally think of the ceiling of Nathan Church? I think we talked about that with Kyle. We've talked about that for a few weeks. Like, maybe it is higher, maybe it isn't. Who knows? But I do kind of feel, I guess the only one that really worries me is the Jordan Walker performance.
Yeah.
And, it could just be taking a while for these swing changes to make sense. But we're still seeing, when you look at the StatCast numbers, we're still seeing the 100 kajillion mile an hour hit that has like a 9 launch angle, that is just the worm burner or whatever you want to call it. So I'm not as worried about Victor Scott. I also think like he offers other things outside of strictly just his offense. Walker, I'm mildly worried about, and I think Nelson Velasquez is on the team.
Well, I'm worried about Scott, but I'm still willing to let it ride. He's young. He was always going to be slow to develop offensively at the major league level. Walker, I kind of still like. It would have been cool if he came in crushing the ball. But this is just a continuation of where we've been at it a while. And also, it is still spring. It's early spring. I'm trying not to take
It's middle
anything.
spring. It's middle spring. It's not early
middle
spring. Yeah.
That's fair. Trying not to take anything too serious. So I don't think anything they've done changes the plan. It is Velasquez. So who does he take from the 40-man if he's joining, or even rather more to the point, the 26-man?
Well, I think, if you're starting the season with Newt on the IL, which it seems that is just my guess of how we're trending, then that part is obvious. From a 40-man point of view, man, I don't know. Do you kick off Prieto? Like, what are your feelings on him? Can you move Brian Torres off? Maybe he's sort of kind of close to the majors as well. I guess if I had to make that decision, are we at 40 right now? I'm not remembering. I can't remember.
Well, you also have to leave a spot for JJ Wetherholt. I don't think they're at 40 right now, but they're pretty much accounted for. So someone's going to have to be dropped. There could be any of the pitchers with no options and Rule 5 sort of thing, like Rule or Pushard. There's some options there.
Okay. I had to look it up. The 40 is at 40 right now, at least as of Wednesday, March 11th at 2:00 in the afternoon, MST. So somebody's going to have to get kicked off. That first name I said, I think makes a lot of sense. Prieto. I'm not buying it. I don't know about you. There is also the potential of dropping Ramon Urias, which seems very unlikely. They can't do it to Fermin for obvious reasons. So yeah, I don't know, but it's like Baez is already on. We talked about him for a second. Baez is already there, so that makes his once he is cooked enough, or whenever we're feeling good enough. Which I do want to go back and talk about that for a second. What do you think? That's a month of good performance at AAA? Do you think it's 2 months? Do you think it's lack of performance? It has to be a combination of him crushing and lack of performance by one of those other outfielders. Is it? I guess it maybe depends on how much he is thumping.
Yeah, I really have no idea what to predict here because I also there could be some contract element to it. There's always something with that, with playing time and all of that. And we just don't know with the Bloomin' Goons. We just haven't been in this spot before where are they going to, the moment they feel like someone's ready, call him up? Or are they going to be more like, all right, we know he's ready, but we don't have the need for it yet. I suspect there's going to be a clear opportunity one way or another for him.
Yeah.
And so that argument won't fly super hard if we're running, this version of the outfield. But I really don't think they're going to rush it. So I'd be surprised if it's a month or two.
I'm very curious because I think originally we were talking like this season is a lost season. It's a developmental season. Let the boys roll. We'll start kicking things into gear. Going off of, I was listening to a Derek Gould interview. It was on one of the Fangraphs very recently. It doesn't matter. Where he was talking about how the Cardinals internally see it as a 1 year fallback, and then they are planning on being competitive as soon as possible, starting as early, as many games as we have to play in 2027. However that works out. So that makes me kind of wonder, like, if you are feeling like somebody like Josh Baez or obviously JJ Wetherholt are ready to contribute, then get them in big leagues, let that adjustment period start, and you're hoping that those guys or whoever else are going to be ready to rock and start in 2027 as soon as possible. I believe they're more well equipped to understand when Baez and I guess to a lesser degree JJ are ready to take those steps. But it makes me think that they want to get them in the big leagues sooner than later and get them acclimated quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the classic version of that is the September call-up. Give them a month and then hit the ground running the next year. That maintains a lot of the service contract element and maintains control and things like that. Cardinals are obviously not doing that with JJ Wetherholt, but I feel like he's at a different pedigree and he's shown a different level of readiness than Baez. But I guess I said I would be pretty surprised if he goes down and rakes for a month and he's on the big league club by May. But I don't know, with what you just said in mind, and if we have, let's say, we're running Church, Scott, and Walker out there, and basically none of the three of them are hitting, you could pull up Baez and have him rotate between left and right and just start getting ABs and getting ready. I could see it. You know, you need a couple different things to happen in that situation, but frankly, it's probably the most likely situation is that he's raking at AAA and the big league club is struggling. So I could see it would certainly be fun. And to your point about getting ready for 2027, certainly some logic there. You want the team together as much as possible.
Yeah. We'll talk about another outfielder that was sent down recently. Chase Davis was sent down and ultimately had a pretty weird spring training. He had 2 homers, 12 strikeouts, seemed to sort of heat up towards the end of his spring training run, those 2 weeks or so that he got. Something that I thought was really interesting about his performance is that Kyle, we had Kyle on, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? And he was talking about how passive Chase Davis was being last year or has been in his minor league career. And, you watch the games. I think we saw him swing on the first pitch in real life a number of times.
Yeah.
He seemed to either have talked to Kyle or listened to the show or internalized that himself somehow.
I think he's a fan of the show.
It would make a lot of sense that he would.
Yeah.
To varying results. There was some power. There was a lot of swing and miss. I thought he looked pretty good in the outfield, but I just thought that was an interesting data point to discuss. Like, no one could say he was being passive in spring training. Is that something that he is actively working on? Is he going to be able to tone down the strikeouts, like maybe find a balance in there of, going
Yeah.
from passive to aggressively free swinging in the period of a off season is it seems purposeful.
You got the
And
note.
the fact that some power came along with it is something to be excited about. I don't know how I feel about it long term or what this is going to mean, but it's interesting.
Yeah, just like you said, it's kind of a data point. We'll see. He was reassigned, so hopefully he can, that seemingly change to approach starts to bear the fruits that everyone's looking for. Because certainly the clock is ticking on him too as a prospect at this point.
Right. Yeah, he was kind of drafted old, and
Yeah.
the Cardinals are pushing him along though. They like whether or not he's rated highly outside of the organization, they seem to believe in something.
We got a lot of chase in spring so far.
We did. All right, I want to talk about pitching a little bit. Liberatore had another great start. He went 5 innings against the O's, 7 Ks, 16 swing and misses, Nathan, in that start. On spring, he has 14 strikeouts overall against 1 walk. He went 5 innings in the game that happened on Monday, I believe it was, against the O's, and he's looking strong.
He was touching 97, I think, with his fastball. I mean, I always spring pitching performances. It's so easy to get so hyped. I think the things I'll say, it's important to remember that Liberatore has, for the majority of his career as a baseball player, been someone who's been projected to be a high-end starter. At times, he was projected to maybe even be an ace quality starter. It's part of the reason why the Cardinals had to trade a very valuable piece to get him in the first place. Obviously, his stock plummeted as he struggled. And while we were all very happy about last year from a consistency standpoint, or rather just a showing up every day standpoint, the results were good but not great. But it is important to remember that he's still pretty young, and most players take years to develop in the major leagues before they really start to produce. So if we were gambling on any pitcher in the Cardinals rotation right now to take a huge step forward in 2026, the safe bet is that it'd be Liberatore. He's spent the most time in the major leagues. He has the highest pedigree. At times, his stuff has been great. Is the hype wagon starting, Hambone? We getting on the Liberatore hype wagon? I'm ready to do it.
I'm fine with doing it. He added a new pitch.
Yeah.
I said I'm fine with doing. I'm agreeing. How full throated do I need to be for you?
I don't want you on the wagon now.
Okay, fine. I won't be on the wagon. You know what wagon I am on?
What?
Packy Naughton.
Packy Naughton. He's back.
He's back, Nathan. You know he's 30 years old now.
Yeah.
Time
I think
flies.
every Bostonian is born right around 30 years old.
Makes sense to me. He's had a quietly good spring training, 5 innings, 6 Ks, no walks, and hasn't given up a run yet. Now, he has similar problems about, not being on the 40-man roster. But I do wonder if Packy Naughton, because of his age, because of previous experience, success, and because, is Justin Brule really going to keep anyone off the roster? I don't think, maybe. But I do wonder if Packy Naughton is kind of sneaking his way, backdooring his way into being in this bullpen, possibly.
Yeah. I look at it like we already have with the bullpen, is that this thing's going to shift in and out all season. People are going to get hurt, be ineffective. I don't know that he's going to make it out of spring because of how many guys in the bullpen have no options, and we kind of got to see them. But he's certainly looking to me like maybe one of the first men up as the bullpen develops. You could argue from a left-handed side, maybe they should just make a switch. But I think he'll probably start in spring and then get called up as soon as it's needed.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Packy does still he has one option remaining. I'm sure that will be, utilized this year, assuming he's not beaten and bruised again like he has been. But yeah, I think I agree, but it's nice to see a guy that we like pitching well.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, I mean, it's so far. It's funny. So far, the pitching has looked like the best part of the Cardinals in spring. Quinn Matthews had a pretty dominant performance while we were there.
I don't know. I'm paying attention to this team way too closely right now and overreacting to everything, but I would not be surprised if pitching, at least starting pitching, and some of the bullpen is the best part of this team going into 2026.
There's,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they also spent pretty much all their trade capital and all of their time acquiring new pitchers, So I would kind of hope after all that, that 2026, we're feeling a little bit better about our pitching. If we didn't have that, that would be that wouldn't feel great.
I know that we've been acquiring pitching and developing pitching differently for the past year and a half at this point. But I know what you just said logically makes sense, and of course I can get there, especially when you lay it out like that. But I think I've been so conditioned by John Mozeliak and his style of pitching acquisition and the Cardinal style of pitching development that it does kind of feel weird. But we are striking guys out right now in spring. Quinn Matthews, all he can do is strike guys out right now. Liberatore looking more impressive. And it's very early, of course. But I don't know. I'm digging it. It's fun. Okay,
We're having fun. We're having fun now.
Speaking of having fun, Nathan.
Wow.
JJ Wetherholt. JJ Wetherholt. I feel like we're at a point, and we kind of talked about this last week, but it seems like a slam dunk, absolutely 100% chance that he is going to be your starting second baseman. He's slashing all kinds of crazy things on the spring. Just had a stolen base right before we hopped on the call today. He's got a bunch of walks. He's got a couple of HRs. It's all looking
people in
good.
Camp are saying he's a new guy. He's coming in confident. He's not a rookie anymore as far as just being in pro ball goes. So I think it's happening. I think he's going to be
what
good.
You've seen right now and his plate approach and what we think it might be. What do you think of the idea of him being your leadoff hitter going into 2026?
I think that's fun. I think I probably still do the classic baseball thing of like, hey kid, you're gonna hit seventh or whatever, just to really lean in on the no pressure sort of thing. But I guess
don't you think there's no pressure because there is no pressure this year?
Yeah. I also don't know what kind of guy he is as far as that goes. There are certain types of guys who it's like, no, I'm here. Put me in, coach. Day one, lead off.
Yeah.
I want to lead off the team for opening day of baseball. Put me in. And maybe that's the kind of guy he is. He certainly seems like a competitive guy. But the standard practice is like bury him a little bit, let the vets get the ABs up top, and then he'll hit his way up quite quickly. But if you ask me if I was building an ideal lineup right now about which was trying to win games, I don't know how you argue anything other than that. Maybe even having him hit two, fine. We'll have Mason Wynn lead off. We like that. But JJ might already be the best hitter on the team right now.
I think if I was in charge, I would
Burley would have an argument against that, but he's not fast. So I
would be JJ, Ivan Herrera, Burley. That would be my 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't know why I always forget about Ivan. Ivan is probably actually the best overall hitter on the team, right? And then Burley, and then maybe JJ.
Yeah, I think Ivan will lead the team in WRC plus or OPS plus or maybe just OPS or I think he will, assuming health and all that stuff.
Assuming health, yeah.
And let's I guess end on a slight downward note. Gorman 3 for 22. Right now he's penciled in for your third baseman, but the defense hasn't looked good. The offense
he hit a
hasn't
bomb
looked
while we
good.
were there, though. We
He
saw
did
a Gorman bomb.
No one could say that we did not see a Nolan Gorman home run while we were there.
Everyone's trying to come up to us and be like, you didn't see a Nolan Gorman home run. Like, yeah, we did. I got a great picture of us in the outfield that I took a picture of our shitty TV screen in our Airbnb.
Maybe the most blur. We rewatched part of the game or some of the games when we got home, and we were drinking a little bit of bourbon provided by Dustin, and I got some nice screen caps of us looking like Lego men, sort of.
It's haunted. It looks like a ancient picture of old ghosts. I'll put it in the bird score.
Ancient picture of old ghosts. All right, that's all I got, Nady.
All right. Well, we're going to continue our coverage of the NL Central and talk about a little bit of league news and make a few 2026 predictions. But before we do that, we want to remind our listeners that this show is listener supported on patreon.com. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds is where you can find all of the different tiers to sign up to support the show directly. If you sign up, you get access to our private Discord server. That's the Bird Score. That's what we're always talking about. It's very active right now. It should be and will be throughout the entire season. It's a great place to go to keep up to date on Cardinal news and actually get to talk to other listeners of the show and other Cardinal fans like us. So, it's become my de facto baseball social media. And just, it's a lot of fun being in there. So thank you to all of our patrons, everyone who supports the show. We truly appreciate it. If you want to support the show in a different way, consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really does help us. And tell your friends, tell your family. Baseball season is heating up. Opening day 2 weeks away from now. It's crazy. We're almost there. Your friends and your family are getting back into baseball. Why not give us a little plug? We really appreciate it. Hambone, where else can people find us online?
Yeah, and I would just like a little coaching moment. Don't wait for somebody to be like, oh, what podcast do you listen to? Just force it on them. Talk about it incessantly.
Yeah.
Bring it up when it's not appropriate to bring it up. That kind of thing.
I think that you're in church and you're like, we got a podcast recommendation for you.
Yeah, I think
that sort of thing.
Yeah. You can find us on the socials if you're one of those people. We're on Blue Sky, Instagram.
I have to confess.
Oh, Lord.
I've got a new favorite podcast.
What's the name of this character?
Jefferson.
That's great. Okay. We also have TikTok. You can watch this show on YouTube if you're one of those freaks. You can find all the podcast information, t-shirts, and more at talkingaboutbirds.com. Of course, you can email us, fan art, or whatever you might have to talkaboutbirds@gmail.com. And you can call us and leave a voicemail or send us a text message to 848-48-BIRDS. That's 848-482-4737.
848-40-BIRDS. Wow. All right, Hambone. Let's talk about the NL Central a little bit. Who do we got
next? While I roll up my sleeves for one moment, Nathan.
Oh, wow. We're digging in. What's he doing?
Visual bit for the show.
I had a hard time telling what you were doing. That was good.
Rolling up my sleeves. We're gonna get dirty. Dig some dirt.
All right. I can get down in the slop.
Okay. Slop it up, baby.
Please, who are we talking about today?
Oh, okay. So a reminder, if this is your first episode, we are doing an NL Central team preview. We are going in order of Fangraphs projected standings. We did the Reds. Last week, we talked about the Brewers. This week, we're going to talk about the Pirates. And next week, we will talk about the Cubbies. But to talk about the Pirates, I think I'm going to start with the good. And then we can kind of open up the conversation. But the good news is about the Pirates is that they have somebody named Paul Skeens on their team, who I think is arguably the second best pitcher in baseball, second to only Tarek Skubal of the Tigers.
And it's really pick your poison there. You could, if someone wants to tell me Paul Skeens is the best pitcher in baseball, I'm not really going to argue with them.
Well, he has the advantage of he'll be 24. He's 23 right now. He'll be 24 in a few weeks here. So he's younger by a good margin and has more track record. and maybe even more pedigree. But he's very, very good. They also have somebody named Mitch Keller, who I think is underrated, maybe not great, but an underrated starter. Bubba Chandler, who should be healthy and effective all season. And Jared Jones, who is currently recovering from an internal brace surgery that happened about 8, 9, 10 months ago, something like that. So he could rejoin the team at some point this season. Outside of that, they have Braxton Ashcraft and Jose Urquidy that'll be starting for them. But their starting rotation is stout and young and has maybe an unmatchable ceiling. And that's not true. They have an extremely high ceiling, especially if Jared Jones comes back from that internal brace surgery and becomes effective. So I think we all know most of that. They're very good. The problem that I have with, first off, the Pirates being rated this highly by Fangraphs, and secondly, just by the overall team composition, is that by far the best part of their team is their pitching staff. And from my point of view, they have organized their team in a style which almost punts defense entirely. And if you can bear with me just going through this, Nate, O'Neal Cruz, decidedly a bad center fielder. Brandon Lau, decidedly a bad second baseman. Brian Reynolds used to be okay, now a bad outfielder. Ryan O'Hearn, not really an outfielder, but will be playing outfield for them, is really a first baseman. Spencer Horwitz, fine first baseman. Nick Gonzalez, Jared Triolo, fine. Joey Bart, good. But pretty much across the board, you are average or below average from a defensive standpoint. And I don't see, while they have upgraded their power with some of those acquisitions, and I think their offense in general, it seems hard for me to understand why you would do that to the Paul Skeens and Mitch Kellers and Bubba Chandlers of the world. It seems like you're asking them to do even more.
I have to imagine, because I agree with you. I do think they improved their offense this offseason, and on paper, that makes sense. They're like, we might have the best pitching in baseball. If Chandler takes the step forward that everyone thinks he will, and Jared Jones comes back healthy, Skeens, Chandler, Jones could be the best three-headed monster, if you will, in baseball. We could go down the list and argue, and et cetera, but no one else except for the Tigers has a Paul Skeens, and I do think Bubba Chandler is going to be very, very good.
Right.
And so they knew they needed to improve their offense, and they did. I think Ryan O'Hearn, offensively, is a good addition. I imagine Brandon Lau is going to hit a bunch of home runs if he stays healthy. And Marcell Ozuna, as a DH, you could do much worse, although we'll see. He might have fallen off a cliff last year offensively, but it wouldn't surprise me
going into this year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he has a little bit left in the tank.
Sure.
And I think it's all these things that is why they're projected over a team like the Reds and even the Brewers, which is really, really surprising. But they have arguably a better floor than those teams because of this potential league average offense and incredibly high-end pitching. And I think their bullpen is going to be pretty good. They got Mason Montgomery from the Rays, and I think that was a sneaky pickup. I think he's going to be very, very good for them.
They also signed lefty fireballer Gregory Soto.
Yeah.
I think he has the capacity to be very, very good any season.
Yeah. So my guess, though, Hambone, is that basically they are still a cheap organization and they wanted to improve their offense. And kind of the only way you can do that if you're cheap is to get these guys that hit the ball pretty well, but just can't really play anywhere. And they're adding more of those. They're stacking it in there. They're hoping a team 105 WRC plus with some true upside in O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz could win an MVP. Sure. He also could hit 210 like he did last year. They're just sort of, this is classic Cardinal model of the years past. Like, patch the holes with 35-year-old veterans, and maybe they'll all stay healthy, and maybe it'll all work out, and we'll win 87 games, and we'll make the playoffs. And they could. Like, there is enough upside on this team and enough floor that if everything breaks exactly right, I could see why this team will do well. But I think you're probably more right in that this is a bad defensive team, which is going to put additional pressure on their pitching staff, which is really just one guy is for sure good.
Yeah.
Everyone else is probably good. And I think that is a recipe for a middling team.
I just think I don't believe you have to do it this way, but if you're going to go for a run suppression and you want to lean into that, I think it makes more sense to help out the pitching staff rather than what I see is it seems to be actively hurting them. Now,
Yeah,
that being
they just
said,
think they're going to strike everyone out,
and they'll strike a lot of guys out. But man,
Yeah.
I really think we're going to see some ugly baseball in Pittsburgh. Now, that being said, from a fan perspective, if I was a Pirates fan, I would be much more excited about watching this team
Yeah.
as opposed to the teams of the past because, you used to look at Lau, O'Hearn, Ozuna. You've added potentially 60, 70 home runs to your lineup,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range. They also traded for Josh Nixon Garcia, who could be a huge chunk of home runs. Just him. And I think the X factor that we haven't talked about yet is when does Connor Griffin, the seemingly consensus number one prospect in MLB, get the call up? He is a wee baby child right now. He is going to be 20 later this summer. But he crushed everyone they threw at him last year. He's having a fine, if not great, spring training so far. And I would bet, depending on where the Pirates are and depending on his early performance, would not be surprised if he gets called up at 20 years old this season.
There's already writers in the Pittsburgh area that are penciling him in as the starting shortstop going into 2026.
I mean, is he better than Nick Gonzalez right now? Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
So
he's incredible. He's one of those guys that just certainly seems like a dynasty level player, it'll be up to the Pirates if they decide they want to push in or not in that way. Because there's obviously a lot of risk at starting a 19-year-old at the MLB level. So it's not a slam dunk. I think you could, even if you're the most let's go all in guy, there's an argument against starting Connor Griffin right now.
Right.
But I don't know. Part of me thinks they will. And it would certainly be fun. And if you're a Pirates fan, this is hopefully one of the more fun seasons that they've had in the last 10 years. And that's where it feels like every decision they've made in a vacuum is fine. It's the whole composite together that doesn't make a ton of sense, but it is at least fun to see them kind of trying. I mean, it's all a bunch of budget picks, but it is improving their team, which is something we haven't seen them do in a while.
I can see Brandon Lau being healthy, hitting 35 bombs.
Totally.
Horowitz.
I like Brandon Lau
taking a step forward.
Yeah.
Or Ozuna's maybe not fully dead, and O'Hearn hitting enough to make up for what I think is going to be a really bad outfielder. I do think that would make baseball more fun. I do hate the idea of Bob Nutting being rewarded for sucking, but that's not going to drive my overall feelings of this season. Yeah,
there's a other alternative or outcome where Brandon Lau really just becomes a platoon player. Now it's a strong side platoon, but he's been heading in that direction anyway.
Right.
And now you're running out against all lefties, and even worse starting lineup. And Marcel makes one last bad jump off the left field wall and can't play anymore. And O'Hearn is fine.
Yeah.
But is just chasing balls around in right field. There you can certainly see it. So let's wrap it up though. What's your prediction? What's the Fangraphs projected final standings for them or win total?
So they were 71 and 91 last year. They had a -62 run diff. Obviously, not fantastic. Fangraphs has them projected at 82-80 this year with a positive run diff of 11. And so just to rehash, the projected standings are Cubs, Pirates, Brewers, Reds, and the Schmardinals at the end there. If I had to say, Nate, I think that prediction for I think they're a 500 team. So I think it's pretty right on. I just think that the Reds have a higher ceiling, that the Brewers are assuredly going to be better than 500, and the Cubs will be better than 500. So I think it puts them in third or fourth place in the Central, and I'm going to say it's going to be right at 500 ball, 81-81.
Okay, so you're taking below essentially, since they're projected at 82-80. I was also going to take below. I've said above for both the Reds and the Brewers. I can't say every NL Central team is going to be above their projections.
NL Central against everyone. Let's go.
How many made the playoffs last year? You know, it does happen. Now, is that through their quality or an overall fault in the league right now? That's a different argument. But the Reds, Brewers, and Cubs made the playoffs last year.
They did.
But yeah, I think I'll go below. I guess I hope that I'm wrong about them and they beat the Cubs.
Yep.
Because that would be more fun.
That would be more fun. I agree.
Yep. All right, let's hit some league news. What do you got for us?
Yeah, well, we talked about or alluded to it at the top of the episode, but Team USA is, and this is going to be old by the time this show comes out, so I don't want to hit on it too strongly. But Team USA is run by Mark DeRosa. He's their manager, who is apparently a moron, but he believed that he had already locked up, clinched the pool win, so they put in kind of their sort of B lineup. Now, their B lineup still has Aaron Judge in it. It's not like they totally punted. But he said in a candid interview that they went out and celebrated and that the team was not fresh coming into Tuesday night's game. They ended up getting their asses stomped for the first 7-8 innings by Italy, which was surprising. And then slowly came back, but ended up ultimately losing the game to Italy. And that means that the game against Italy and the Mexican team, which is happening in about a couple of hours from us recording this, is going to decide whether or not the USA team is going forward. And there are some very funny scenarios. The way that they calculate the winning teams in these pools is very interesting. But essentially, what I think would be the funniest thing to happen is that Mexico wins by 4-3 over Italy. Then the USA team is bounced out and both Mexico and Italy advance. And if I was them, I would do that because that makes my next stage a lot weaker without the likes of Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson and all these other guys.
They're like, oh no, mamma mia, I can't find the ball. And it's like to get to exactly 3 runs or whatever the setup was said.
I think that I would collude and I would do it. One thing I do like about Team Italy is their home run celebration is that they crush an espresso, which I think is wild. But anyways, it needs to go back to Mark DeRosa not understanding the rules and therefore setting up his team to have to sit and watch a team, again, Mexico and Italy, not like they're bad teams, but they're nowhere near Team USA.
The current makeup of Team USA is arguably the greatest team that's ever been put together, and they might get bounced out of the first round. I mean, that's baseball. You know, they could. Yeah, this could have happened because, like you said, it's not like it was the B team is still an A team, and they still got beat, right? But certainly the vibe and the intent in the game would be a lot different if they all thought they had to win it. It's insane. I mean, Mark DeRosa is one thing. He should absolutely know the rules, but I can't believe none of the other players were like, well, hey, coach.
Nate, we followed baseball for a while. They don't.
Somebody. This is the
now somebody else in the sphere. There should just be a guy who's the World Baseball Classic rule guy, and all he does is be like, nope, that's not how this works. That should exist, but
it's insane. What a hilarious embarrassment for the United States, and we're winning across the globe right now in so many other ways. So this is just
And I think you just look at, how they like the fact that they brought Ryan Yarbrough in when they brought him, the fact that they had Goldie start over Bryce Harper, the fact that
Yeah.
at one point in the game they had a retired Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw warming up as if to actually come into the game, I thought was shocking.
Well, yeah,
But
they played it like they didn't
and the
need to win.
hangover aspect of it.
Well, yeah, I assume most players are hungover most days anyway.
Interesting take.
But yeah, I mean, it's what a mess, and I don't want them to get bounced because they are the best team and they're the most fun to watch. But if they do,
They deserve it.
They deserve it, and good
Yep.
for Italy and Mexico and whoever, like that is part of why they do the games. You do the pool, yeah, wild.
Very
Mark DeRosa
silly.
will never be the manager of this team again.
That's the only thing that this means, really, is that, we'll never see him do this again. And I cannot wait to see him answer these questions when he goes back to his TV job on
Mark.
MLB Network. What the hell?
Hey, Mark, we're shooting tomorrow. You know that, right? Everyone's going to question if he remembers anything all the time. That's what I would do, at least.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, that one's your desk.
Yeah. All right. The Phillies sign Jesús Luzardo, Jesus Lizard, to an extension 5 years, $135. I think that's around $27 million a year. Nate, my take on this is great kid. Great kid. He's young. He's good. I would not be surprised if he continues to get better over at least the first chunk of this contract. I like him a lot. And he's no longer in the Marlins. He's with the team that wants to win.
Yeah.
So good for him for getting paid. Good for the Phillies for getting a good deal on a guy that they traded for. I think this is a good deal at least. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best pitcher on the team this upcoming year, or the year after that. He's really good, and nasty.
I think he will lead the league in strikeouts at least one time through this. Now that's hard with Skeens being in the same league as him, but I think there's a real chance of it.
Yeah, he's nasty. And then a little other news: Hunter Greene to have bone chips removed from his elbow, likely out until July. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago. He is the horse, kind of the guy on the Reds, and obviously this is bad news if you're a Reds fan.
Yeah, well, we talked about it, like you said, they're the high risk, high reward team. And one of the parts that makes them high risk is a lot of their guys that are their best are also considered injury prone.
Yep.
So this is rough for them. Now they could be fine and he comes back and they're winning, and it's like, hey, it's like making a trade, Hambone. We just got Hunter Greene.
Well,
or it's one of the shoes to drop in what will end up being a mediocre season for them.
I do think it's worth noting that Hunter Greene is being replaced by Rhett Lauder, who is another high-ranking prospect. Now, he is no Hunter Greene or even close to it, but they still have the likes of Nick Lodolo and Chase Burns, and then Rhett Lauder kind of coming in. So it's a downgrade, but
people are gonna get hurt. Like all you have to just assume that your rotation, they're like half of them are gonna miss time.
Right.
I don't think this is a death blow to the Cincinnati Reds, but it is the start of that for them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing. I just saw this perusing Reddit right before we hopped in, and I found this funny, is that Netflix, as you may remember, is doing the opening night game this year. We love to see it. And
we love all our favorite streaming platforms, don't we, folks?
Interesting to me about this is that they've announced their roster. We got, Nathan, Albert Pujols is going to be at the desk. I assume that's going to be pre-game, post-game type thing. Hunter Pence is in the booth. Anthony Rizzo is on the desk with Albert Pujols. CC Sabathia also in the booth. So I think Hunter Pence and CC Sabathia in the booth. That's got to be fun. I like that.
Sure.
Lauren Shahadi is your sideline reporter. Bert Kreischer, the fat, dumb comedian that never wears a shirt, is a quote-unquote contributor. So I'm sure that's going to be fantastic. I'm sure he's going to come in with bits that I enjoy and are also funny. I'm sure
we all find him funny. We love Bert Kreischer.
El Duncan is also going to be on the host desk with Pujols and Rizzo. And then Matt Vasgersian will be the play-by-play, who I always like Matt. I think he's good.
Yeah, I did too.
And then question mark, a special guest.
Ooh.
So I'm guessing it's going to be like Snoop Dogg doing something like he did in the Olympics or something like that. But I find this to be a funny, weirdly star-studded roster. And then there's also somebody who I wish wasn't there, but that's okay.
Pujols.
Yeah, Pujols. I'm sad to see him in the mix.
I guess I'll say fanfare around opening day. I'm here for it. Blow it up, promote it, get people excited about opening day. Some of this mix could be fun. I wish that it was not Netflix, but whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Nate. That's all I got for league news.
Just a moment. Pour one out for kind of everything. All right. Yeah. We're going to we have a couple prediction games that we do before the season starts. And we only have a few episodes left before the season starts. So we got to start getting into these, Hambone. So we are going to do our league prediction game. So we're basically going to each predict the major outcomes of the regular season, the awards, and some of the playoff stuff right now here on March 11th. And at the end of the season, we'll see how we did. If you remember, we went through the results just a couple months ago from our 2025 prediction, and we got almost everything wrong. Basically, the only things that we really got right were me predicting the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani for everything, and I think you snagged like a Phillies thing or something, but we were wrong on almost everything. So that might also be partly because we treat this halfway as a bit and just like to make cases for teams that we hope are fun and surprising. But at the end of the day, we've been wrong most of the time. So,
glad we're not betting on this.
I'm well, actually, as you know, after a cascading series of constant failures, I'm in the hole after this last weekend. I owe D-Rock $3.2 billion.
Oh, wow. I thought it was 800 million. So yeah, that's not good.
Remember, it was you double or nothing enough that you get up to so I need join the Patreon. I'm kind of in generational debt to my friend, and but we came to a deal. But anyway, so we're just gonna start this. We're gonna run down. We're gonna pick division winners. We're gonna pick top. We're gonna pick the awards, and then we're gonna pick who's going to get to the World Series and win it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Hambone. AL West. Who you got?
I got to go Mariners on this one. They were arguably one of the, if not the best team, the second or third best team in the AL last year. They have only improved their team. I think that Gilbert and Kirby are going to have a nice bounce back year. Wu is only going to be better. Donnie's on the team. Cal Raleigh is not going to hit 60 home runs again, but he's still the best catcher in baseball. I think they're going to have a really nice year, and I think they're going to take the West easy.
Yeah. I don't think there's really a super strong argument for any other team. I always like to pick different than you, but I got to go Mariners as well. We also both just love the Mariners and that Nintendo patch.
That Nintendo patch is good.
You getting a Switch too? You got one yet?
Maybe. Leave me alone.
Yeah. All right. New Pokemon game out.
Oh, okay. Maybe then.
Well, but it's like Pokemon, but if it were like Animal Crossing and Minecraft.
Yeah, less interested.
Might be fun.
Okay.
All right. AL East. Probably the most interesting. Yeah, Hambone, you go.
My brain says the Yankees because I think they're just going to mash. Aaron Judge is hard to bet against, but I don't think Max Fried is going to have as good as a year that he had last year. They're really counting on Cameron Schlitter to turn into a guy, and he may or may not be that guy. I think the highs are high, but I'm going to have to go with the Blue Jays. I think that Vlad is kind of ascending to a new level of stardom right now. I think that their rotation looks really good. If Ye Savage or Ya Savage, however you say his name, he might have a really nice year. That new Japanese third baseman might have a really nice year. I don't think George Springer's going to have the year that he had last year, but I still think they're going to put it together and win this division outright.
Yeah. I will go ahead and pick the Yankees. The Blue Jays have had an incredible offseason, but I do think they have a lot of risk, and Garrett Cole's coming back. Who knows what he'll be, but if they can have Cole, Fried, Schlitter, I think they're going to have a good rotation. And I think they've got Aaron Judge.
Yep.
So I will pick the Yankees, I guess, which hurts my bones. But you know what? We had a nice time at their stadium, didn't we?
It was so nice for them to invite us.
Don't they deserve this?
Okay.
AL Central. Hambone, I'm going to go first.
Oh.
I'm going Royals, baby.
Oh, that's so funny. I can't believe that.
There might be a smarter pick, but I think the Royals are good. They're young. Yeah. I think we're going to see some big seasons from some of these young guys. And I think they're going to win the this is going to be the AL Central. They only got to get to 86 wins or so. And I think they're going to do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I said the same thing. They have arguably the second best player in the AL, Bobby Witt Jr., but Michael Garcia and Vinny Pasquantino also had good years last year. Jack Caglione is probably going to be a lot better this year than he was last year. Carter Jensen is going to be in the big leagues all season. This offense could be borderline scary.
Yeah,
also a full healthy season of Cole Reagans, a full season of Noah Cameron. I think that this team is going to be solid. Waka and Bubic also, the rotation is good. Carlos Estevez is still a good closer. I got them winning the Central too.
Wow. So we did go the same. Okay.
I didn't think you were going to say that.
All right, Hambone. Who is your AL MVP favorite?
I think this is the year, Nate, that Bobby Witt outperforms Aaron Judge.
I want that to be true. I am a huge Bobby Witt fan. He's part of why I picked the Royals, part of why you picked the Royals. I think the only way that happens is we're basically predicting an Aaron Judge out for the season injury.
I think that Bobby Witt is going to be that good this year.
Yeah, I hope you're right. He has had a 10+ WAR season already and missed it. And he's still very, very young. Judge is only getting older. It will happen at some point. But I'm going to give one more to Aaron Judge.
Wow.
It's kind of, is it fun or is it not fun that it's kind of like these two guys for...
I think it is fun to be a fan in the time of Aaron Judge, who is going to be a inner circle greatest of all time type player.
Yeah. And Witt too, maybe.
Yes.
He just needs to do it for another 10 years,
Right. But I would rather be around for watching Aaron Judge than it be topsy-turvy every year. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. AL Cy Young.
Okay, I'm going to guess we have to be different on this one, because if you pick the guy I'm picking, then you're stupid. Nate, I'm going with Hunter Brown of the Astros. Okay. Breakout year last year. It was all about that two-seamer. The kid has got gas. He's young. He's healthy. I think Tarek Skubal is amazing. I just think that Hunter Brown is going to take it down this year.
It's a fun pick. I like Hunter Brown a lot. I think clearly not a favorite because there's some heavy hitters in the AL, obviously with back-to-back Cy Youngs for Tarek Skubal. But I do like it. It's fun. I'm going to go with the Bobby Witt to the Tarek Skubals. I don't think Skubal can do it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
You're really fighting history with that. And I think it's going to be Garrett Crochet's time. I think when we were talking about best pitchers in baseball earlier, I think it's fair to say 1A and 1B is Tarek Skubal and Paul Skeens. But you might just say 1C is Garrett Crochet.
He is nasty. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the Red Sox have put together a pretty good team. I considered picking them as my sort of sleeper for AL East.
Yeah.
Partly because of Garrett Crochet. And maybe I should change it. There's some Cardinals on the Red Sox. Oh, well, we've moved on. And I think it's going to be Crochet. I think
All right.
he's already done it. It's just, will anyone do it better than him?
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. One last one for AL, then we'll knock out NL. We'll get out of here. Hambone, Rookie of the Year.
This one may be a little less exciting, but I'm going to go with Kevin McGonigal of the Detroit Tigers. Undersized, but I think the kid is big league ready. I think he's going to come up and hit. I think they're going to call him up early, and I think he's going to be really, really solid.
Yeah, I was actually going to pick McGonigal, but I will go with Trey Savage.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe
the favorite, arguably.
Maybe. I think we saw the breakout, at least in the playoffs. And I think it's usually a lower bar for a pitcher to win this award. So maybe I'm gaming it a little bit, but I think it'd be very likely that Kevin McGonigal, who I really like, has a couple slow months and Savage just comes out shoving and wins it. All right, let's do the NL. Hambone, who you got for the NL West?
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Nothing to say to that.
You went all in on the Padres last year, and it did not help you.
They got Kyle Tucker. They got Edwin Diaz. They got better somehow. Shohei is healthy. It's Dodgers.
Yeah. All right. East.
Maybe a little bit of fun here. I'm going Braves, Nate. We got the team is mostly healthy right now. I think they have they're almost like post hype in like a, as you'd call a prospect. I feel like the team is almost post hype, but they still have Ronald Acuna Jr. I think Matt Olson is going to bounce back. I think Austin Riley's going to bounce back. I think the pickup of Yastrzemski is going to be good. They have Chris Sale and Spencer Strider healthy at the top of their rotation. I think this team is going to be good. They still have a good bullpen. I think they're coming around, and I think my dear friend Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to put a whooping on the league this year.
I hope so. I think everything's more fun in the league when Acuna is crushing. I mean, was it 2023, the 40-70 year? Just like something we've never really seen. Wasn't he the first to do that? I know there was
41 and 73.
Yeah. Absolutely insane.
He had to be the first person. Who else would have done that?
I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, the talent on that team is sky high, and they're essentially the same team that was winning the division and pushing for playoffs every year before. They've just dealt with every injury in the world. They did lose Jurickson Profar, a role player.
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine.
I think Yastrzemski is going to be better than Profar would have been anyways.
Possibly. And it just gives, I think what most people are projecting is that gives Drake Baldwin more at-bats, and he's really good. So
he is good.
Yeah. I'll stick with the reigning Philadelphia Phillies. I think that their time is nigh. I do think that this aging core is going to become a problem, but I think they got at least one more in them. Zach Wheeler is back. You mentioned him, Jesús Luzardo. They still have Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper. I think there's enough there for them to keep it running and get it one more time. And it wouldn't surprise me if the leadership group, if they're big at the deadline, doing sort of a push in as likely one of the last chances to get a World Series with this group. So
yeah, I
think the Phillies will take it. All right, Hambone, who you got for the NL Central?
Going Brew Crew, Nate.
Brewers.
We've talked about them a lot over the past 2 months, but that top of that lineup is stout. They do it in a way that most teams don't do it. But I think that they're going to continue to get good production out of Andrew Vaughn, who was their pickup. It comes back to their pitching for me. Woodruff, Mizorowski, Sproat, and Harrison. I think they have proven to me that they're going to get the most out of those guys, and those guys are going to all take a step forward. Mizorowski in particular, there's something about him that just is. When he's right, he is as good as it gets. And yeah, I think they're going to have a good time this year.
So it comes to me, NL Central. Last year, as a bit, I predicted the St. Louis Cardinals. It's hard to do that this year, Hambone.
Yeah, it is.
It's real hard to do it. But you know what? I'm not afraid of tough stuff, Hambone. I'm doing it right now.
Wow.
The St. Louis Cardinals are going to win the NL Central in 2026. Put it on the board. You heard it here first, folks. I'm writing it in capital letters on our little prediction game. St. Louis Cardinals.
Goes my hero.
I look controversy in the eye, Hambone.
That's cool.
And I say today.
Badass.
If not, then the Cubs. All right. MVP, NL.
So I know the smart pick is Shohei Ohtani. I think that pitching and hitting for the first time, full time in a while, is going to take a bit of a toll on him. He's also getting older. And I think it is Juan Soto's year, Nathan. I think he is going to bash his way and lead the Mets, have a great season. Juan Soto is going to be 27 this year. So technically he's starting to get into his prime.
His prime, yeah.
So
remember last year when he just suddenly led the league or was like second in the league in stolen bases too?
Yeah. And he might keep doing that, but I think he's just going to put up ridiculous offensive numbers and he's going to win the MVP.
Yeah. I don't want to pick Ohtani again, though. I think it's the most likely thing. I will call back to a guy we just spoke about. Ronald Acuna. He's back, baby.
I love it.
We already talked about him. I won't belabor the point, but he's going to take down his second MVP. Who you got for Cy Young?
I'm going Yamamoto for the Dodgers.
Good pick.
Yeah. He's in the league now. He's acclimated. He's pitched in high leverage situations, and he's a freak. He's really, really, really good. And I think he's going to take it.
Yeah, I do really like Yamamoto. I got to counterbalance my Cardinals pick here. I'm going Paul Skeens.
Okay, there you go.
Yep.
Smart move.
Yep. Okay, and Rookie of the Year.
Give me JJ all day. Let's go. We know he's going to be starting in the big leagues. He's going to get it 500-600 at-bats to do it. I think he's going to look great the whole time. And he's got nobody get him off that pace. So I think it's going to be JJ.
Yeah. I got it. I mean, how can I just picked the Cardinals.
Yeah.
How can I?
The only way that happens is if JJ goes deep this year, has a great year this year.
Yeah. All right. Our last one, Hambone. What's your World Series prediction?
Right. I want the Mariners to finally be in a World Series. And Nate, I'm going to put them up against those Braves that I was talking about. Mariners, Braves, give it to me. Sorry, Dodgers, you're missing it this time. But yeah, I want Mariners, Braves, and I'm rooting for the Mariners in that situation.
Okay. I'm going to throw a bone at the team that I mentioned earlier that I maybe should have picked for AL East. I think the Red Sox, once they get into the playoffs, because I'm not saying they're going to make the AL East, but they're going to get in through wild card. They're going to go in with Garrett Crochet and Sonny Gray as their 1-2. Fun little rhyming there too. How about that? Wilson Contreras is going to be mashing. Roman Anthony is ascended, and I think they're going to get hot. That team just seemingly randomly gets hot and wins a World Series every 6 years or so. So I think they're due. And I think the Red Sox are going to win it over the Phillies.
Wow. That would be fun.
Yeah. We're both not predicting the Dodgers, which is probably our
just exhaustion.
Yeah, it is. We're wish casting here.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe if you played along at home,
If I had to put money on it, I'd probably say Dodgers, Yankees, but I'm not putting money on it, so
We're
I'm not
putting
doing
money
that.
on it. Yeah. What a boring World Series that'd be. Dodgers,
Uh-huh.
Yankees. I mean, it'd be fun to see Ohtani and Judge and all that, but like,
Sure.
whatever. All right. Well, Hambone, that's going to do it for this week's episode. If you were kind of playing along, thinking through this, think we're crazy, think you have a better idea, just want to throw out your predictions, let us know. You can find links to all of our different things at talkingaboutbirds.com. And again, consider joining the Patreon. Thank you to all of the patrons. We truly appreciate your support. We will be back next week. As always, we are mere weeks away from opening day, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a fun season, regardless of the box score and the final record. So thank you, everyone, again. See you next week. Until then, go Cardinals. Go Birds.
Yeah, like I'm not going to get into the dumb shit that Brandon said or whatever.
I think we should get into the dumb shit that Brandon said, although I don't think we have enough time.
There you go.